mascara is still kind of wet and my lashes are sticking together. Oh, God. Hello, Bomanians. So today I thought I would share my thoughts with you on the Anastasia Moonchild Glow Kit. Alright? This is my first glow kit. It is not my first Anastasia highlight. However, I do have one of the, what were they? Just the illuminators? I think it was just called an illuminator. And I find that the formulation of that is totally different than this. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on this. Again, with my thought videos, these are not like a full-fledged review. There are plenty of reviews out there that you can view and enjoy on your own time for your own pleasure. But this is more of just an overview of my thoughts. You know, I don't get into color descriptions because I am a colorblind. I cannot provide that type of shit for you. I don't get into how much product is in here and so on and so forth. This is just my thoughts on the formulation, the packaging, whatever I feel is something I feel like you should know. You know, maybe something different that I could add to the rest of the reviews that are out there. I had been looking at this since they first announced that this was going to be happening because I thought that they're different, you know, and they are not your typical highlighting shades, I guess. I mean, it's difficult for me to like really explain that to people because I am, you know, totally colorblind, and people are like, oh, well, why does it matter to you if, you know, they're different than other shades because, you know, you can't even see what they are. But it's still, you know, something about it to me. I like when things are unique. Something else that also had stood out to me about this palette is that all of these shades are, or most of these shades are relatively pale. I don't know if you can tell, okay, because I know that my lighting maybe like distorts stuff or whatever, but I am basically the shade of an eggshell. I'm an egg. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that actually really intrigues me because a lot of highlighters are not pale enough for me. A lot of them end up being the equivalent of insanely sparkly blushes, you know, like they are just crazy, crazy pigmented and just too dark on me, okay? So when I saw this, it was very intriguing to me. And when my friend Meg told me that pretty much all of these, with the exception of this one right down here, are basically insanely pale and they come off as like a whitish until it hits the light. So, you know, it comes off as being like a really wearable type of highlighter, very pale, but when it hits the light you get like a hint of that different color. And that was intriguing to me because even though I can't see it, just the idea of something being unique was, I don't know, it tickled my fancy. So I got it. It's the only glow kit that has ever really spoken to me, and I picked it up. And right off the bat, I will say that I was kind of like a little disappointed with how small it was. I mean, again, I've never gotten one of these glow kits before. I have never even seen any of them in person, so maybe they are all relatively around this size. I just didn't expect it to be so little. I mean, let me try to give you something for reference. So I have a Tarte Amazonian Clay blush here. Okay, this is like, you know, pretty standard. Everybody, or at least most everybody, knows the size of these, right? So like, look at that. Okay, there we go. Like, comparing the sizes of the two, I was just a little, I don't want to say disappointed. I just didn't expect these to be so small in pan size. And the reason why that is annoying to me is that a lot of the brushes that I use for highlighter don't fit very well in here. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. That's kind of an exaggeration. But a couple of the brushes that I like to use for highlighter, like one of my fan brushes, one of my fluffier brushes that is more like a multi-purpose type of brush, they don't fit in here very well. And it's kind of annoying because, you know, like the fan brush, for example, like if I want to wear one of the middle ones, the fan brush will touch the other two on either side of it, and it's just kind of irritating. I mean, it's not a deal breaker with the palette, obviously. It's not something that I would say, oh, don't buy this because, you know, the pan sizes are a little smaller than I thought they would be. But it's just something to keep in mind, I think, that when using these, it's probably best to use a smaller brush. The other thing that I feel is really, really annoying about this is that it doesn't have a mirror. It doesn't have a freaking mirror. And I was very surprised by that. Like, for some reason in my mind, I thought that the Glow Kits had mirrors. And maybe other ones do, but this one doesn't. And I just thought that was really irritating. Like, this is, I believe it's a $40 palette. Okay, $40 worth of highlighter, and they couldn't throw a mirror in? I mean, am I the only one that's, like, irritated by that? I just thought that that was just kind of silly. Now, the product itself, I think, is very soft. You know, they're really, really nice. I'm not swatching all of them. I just wanted to give you, you know, just a little swatch of a few of them, just to show you. Like, the pigmentation, I think, is really nice. I think that, you know, they blend out really well also. They have shimmers in them, but the shimmers don't really settle into your pores, you know. If you have some, like, fine lines, you got some, you know, acne scarring or whatever, it's not really going to show that off, which I was very pleasantly surprised by also, because when I initially got this and I saw that a couple of them, I'm not going to pinpoint which ones right now, but a couple of them do have some finer shimmers as opposed to being like more of a metallic or a glowy type of finish. So I was a little disappointed by that because I do not like shimmer in highlighters. I really do not, because I don't know if it's an acne scar or what it is over here, but I do have some sort of a scar over here. It's like a little indentation in my skin. And some of my other highlighters, I mean, I'm not discriminating against any of my highlighters here, you know, because I still wear them, but it always kind of irks me because it accentuates this little thing over here to me. I mean, it's probably not noticeable to like anybody else, but to me, I see it, you know? So these do not do that, which I was very pleasantly surprised by. Yeah, the powders are very, very soft and finely milled. They're a little softer than I would personally like them to be. Like, I like something to be maybe a little more densely packed than this. You know, like, these are so soft that when I put my brush into it, there is a little bit of kick up. Overall, I'm really pleasantly surprised with this palette. I was not expecting to like it as much as I do. You know, I don't think that I could use every single one of these as facial highlighters, you know, but I know that I could use them as eyeshadows if I wanted to. You know, I could put it on top of lipstick if I was feeling particularly adventurous. I've always just steered clear of the Glow Kits just because, like I said, a lot of highlighters, they just are too dark for me, and so typically I will just buy single products. You know, I don't typically like these full-on facial type of palettes because there's always something in there that's not going to work for me. And even, you know, most of the time, most of them will not work for me, or all of them will not work for me. So I'm just particularly happy with this. So that will be that. If there are any questions that you would like to ask me about this particular palette that have nothing to do with, oh, what color is this? What color is this? Then I will be happy to answer them for you, and I will talk to you guys again in my next video. Ta-ta.